Justin Baldoni isn't going to save you, and he isn't going to pick you. He's going to lead you down an alt-right pipeline. Justin Baldoni is a certain brand of neoliberal that is ultimately going to end up leading a lot of people down the alt-right pipeline. We can already see it happening. You have to look at the people being connected to this case. His lawyer was on Megyn Kelly's show. His lawyer represents Megyn Kelly, and Candace Owens jumping on this because they can see the grift. They can see the chance for making money, and they're going to jump on this. Under the first Trump administration, there was a lot of grifts. And it's interesting because some people are going to go towards Trump, but there's also going to be people who grift to the left. And Baldoni, I think, was actually so smart in his grift because he came up with something that he sort of coined as feminism. He also literally just had a daughter and was talking about his daughter like she was a human, and that was enough to brand him as a feminist. But if you actually look into what he's actually saying about feminism, it is not radical. It's not something that he advocates for actual policy change. He makes masculinity and the patriarchy a very individual level thing. There's this one author that termed it feminism in positive masculine self-conception, as in men can take this feminism to make themselves feel better about their role in the patriarchy because they have feelings and they recognize women as humans. So the author I was just talking about, Tracy Clark Flory, called this back in 2021. I found this article the other day, and it is describing everything I'm feeling right now, so we're just going to go through it together. Justin Baldoni's Man Enough is a shallow study of men's tender feelings. After he started writing about his daughter, he went and gave this TED Talk, which I found out was actually a TED Woman, which oh my god, can women just have something without men? Why do we have to reward men for doing the bare minimum? So he wrote his book Man Enough, but the book isn't interested in the movement, that's the feminist movement, and distanced itself from what he calls political agendas. Trapped within the narrow confines of self-help, where feelings reign supreme, Baldoni's approach to masculinity is a reminder that sensitivity can be a way to preempt critique. Vulnerability can be a shield. Emotional appeals set the terms of debate, often that there isn't one. He's already announced his insecurity, as well as the high stakes of his self-exposure, so any outside criticism may appear excessive or inappropriate. Basically, this is exactly what he's doing. Since he has acknowledged that he does overstep, sometimes we can all of a sudden, forgive him for overstepping. That's not how it works. Just because you sit there and say and recognize the behavior, to me, almost sometimes that makes it worse, because it's so you know what you're doing is wrong, but you do it anyway. Weird. Justin Baldoni is 40 right now, so this was a few years ago. He's 37. It feels like a lot of people are really treating him like a baby. They're oh, Blake Lively was so mean to him and took his movie. He's a grown man. He could have stood up for himself at any point. And then this part of the article from Tracy it hits a little too hard. Feelings do not exist in a vacuum, though. The apolitical reclamation of emotion seems a way to make masculinity slightly more bearable for men. The potential for harm is especially pertinent in the Trump era, which through a certain lens is defined by the political enactment of men's emotions to the detriment of women and other marginalized groups. Are we seeing the pattern here? We do not. Why is it that only the men's feelings matter? Well, so he's so scared, so terrified of Lively, so he can send her a weird voice message that then makes her uncomfortable, and she's the one that needs to get over it. Also, please, I swear to God, stop doing racism to make it seem like he's suffering from racism. Justin Baldoni is a white man. Y'all are just being racist, trying to, his nose looks Arab and this and that. He should play Moses from Egypt. As an Arab American, stop that. His book was published in 2021, I think, but he did add a chapter about race. Although Baldoni dedicates a chapter to the subject of race and exploring his own white privilege, a chapter he admits that he wrote last, seemingly in response to the murder of George Floyd, he does not appear to appreciate how that privilege allows for the book's foundational illusion of being able to separate the masculinity conundrum from politics. And this is one of his favorite quotes, that feminism is the radical notion that women are human beings. Feminism is not just that. Unfortunately, it is a first step in this society that we live in, that we have to convince men that women are humans and other people living in the patriarchy, but it cannot be the last step. That won't undo the wage gap and grape culture and stuff like that. That actually takes actual action, not just looking at a woman and being wow, you're a human and life sucks for you. This whole idea of feminism is just looking at women as humans leads to this. He wrote a 2018 essay about being a feminist father. Do I consider my daughter a human being? The resounding answer is and always will be yes. Who the hell is asking you if you consider your daughter a human being? What the fuck? It's just like depressing that he acted like he fought for all this stuff and posted stuff like this. For God's sake, fellas, if women are feeling unsafe, instead of getting angry and claiming to be a good guy, just fucking listen. They aren't making this shit up. If I could ask Justin Baldoni one thing, I wish I could ask him how he feels about the victim blaming and attacking that his so-called supporters are doing in the name of like protecting a male feminist. If you really thought that victim blaming was so bad, do you now think that it's okay because it's being done in defense of you? And you can't even say that it's just Blake Lively. I've seen people attacking the actress that plays young Lily, attacking Brandon Sklinner, attacking Jenny Slate, attacking Colleen Hoover. I have seen them foaming at the mouth to celebrate any woman that they make deactivate her account or disappear because they harass them so much. And I'm not saying that Blake Lively doesn't have a past, but that doesn't mean that this couldn't have happened. And genuinely, a lot of his argument does not deny a lot of the things. And so it is so weird for a man who pretends to be so in tune with women's feelings, for a man who stepped down from this movie in 2020 because he said a woman should direct It Ends With Us. I guess he decided that he knows what's best for women and victims after all.